Alright, welcome back everybody to some more Dominions 5. It's been a while since we had this game on the channel, but I'm proud to once again present you with another campaign. I'm gonna be playing a Blitz with some Danish guys this weekend, and I'm hoping to do like a whole battle report on it. And for those that don't know, I suppose I couldn't go through what that means. The Blitz means that we play through, everyone logs in at the same time, and that we are committed to playing. I honestly don't know how many hours we're gonna be playing, but like as many hours as possible in consecutive order, and then we will hopefully finish the game in a day. That would be the best. So let's say 10 hours at the max, just intensive Dominion play and get through it as fast as possible, which means that it's probably not going to be a super long game. So as always, I want to start the series with a small introduction video here where I show you the nation that I have chosen and the god that I have created to go along with it. So first of all, we are playing on Dominions Enhanced. In here, Dominions Enhanced 1.65. And let's go and have a look at the nation. We are playing in Middle Ages, and it's highly contested how to pronounce this name. I call it, I think the correct pronunciation must be like Phaeacia, but I like to call it Phaeacia because it sounds silly. And Phaeacia is an isle of dark ships where humans and colossi, also known as fake giants, live in harmony. They start on this extra rich island if possible, and since we're playing on a random map, it will be possible, so it should work out. Ocean sailing, trace income across oceans, income bonus in coastal castles, and they prefer heat scale +1. So there's a lot of stuff going on right here. Everyone gets sailing, every one of the commanders, at least I think most of them. And then we can trace income across oceans. Normally you can do that if you also own the ocean tile interlinking the two provinces, but we can trace income across independent ocean provinces or enemy ocean provinces as long as I own two coastal provinces across the ocean. I hope that makes sense. And then we get even, on top of that, we get income bonus in coastal castles. So coastal castles are worth even more than normal. And yeah. So we can see human and colossi infantry. We can recruit special mages in coastal castles, which is also kind of cool. And we've every year we get a few gigantes. I'll show you what these do and how they look as well. They are from another nation that if you read our backstory up here, we have an alliance with these gigantes from the distant past or whatever. We get air, water, astral, fire, and earth, and few priests of medium power. Then this special rule here is really important. All commanders can use the dark vessels to cross oceans between two provinces with the pretender dominion. And we can have a look at the first commander. No, that didn't work. Okay, we can't see it here yet. All right, but it'll show up later. So what this does, it does precisely what it says it does. If we have dominion between in one coastal province and a dominion on another coastal province, anywhere on the map linked by sea provinces, we can sail between the two. So normally you can only sail across two oceans, but we can in theory sail infinitely as long as our dominion touches coasts everywhere. And that's pretty cool. It becomes like a super mobile nation, and it's really, really nice. So we are going to go through the commanders as always, so let's just dive right in. The first one is the Phaeacian Scout. The Phaeacian Scout, they are like every other scout, except they come with sailing, and that makes them arguably better than every other nation's scouts because they get a little bit of extra mobility. They're just nice, just good scouts. Nothing else really to talk about here. Then the next in line is a standard commander, Phaeacian Captain with sailing. And he's just a little bit cheaper than indie commanders and not a bad unit at all. Phaeacian priests, we get this just a standard priest which can sail. So yeah, nothing else to say about him. He can sail. Yep. And well, he's nice because he spreads our dominion as is implied here. We can use him to facilitate the dark vessel travel by spreading our dominion. Then comes the Mage Pilot. The Mage Pilot is an interesting unit in that it is the most efficient researcher in the nation. For 64 gold per year, you get 9 research ability per month. And that translates to a relatively efficient researcher. So we should talk maybe a little bit about, since this is a blitz, I don't expect us to go very high in research, and therefore I don't think I will be focusing a whole lot on these guys. They come in with air 1 and water 1 in skills or mage schools, and that's not really super efficient to do anything in combat either. So they're good for researching, but not much else. Then we move on to the Colossi, and this is where the nation gets really cool. The first one of the bunch is the Colossi Weaver, who comes in with 1 air path, 1 astral path, and then she gets 1 random of fire, air, water, earth, and astral, which means that she can get double astral or air, double air, right? Or a combination of any of the others. And that in itself is pretty nice. You can get air 2 or astral 2 mages out of her, but she also comes with a forge bonus. And the forge bonus is the opposite of what I thought. I thought it would give her 1 extra skill because I'm a noob. So I thought initially that this would give me 1 extra rank when crafting, but it's the other way around. She gets 1 discount in gems when she forges per type of gems used. So if she forges something that is a combination of 2 different paths, then she gets a discount in both types of gems, which is important for one of the nation-specific items. So yeah, these are pretty good, decent enough researchers, not as good as the mage pilot, but then they're really good at forging, so they are effectively weaving items for us, which is kind of cool. Alright, the next in line is the Colossi Storm Captain, and I absolutely love these guys. They are the bigger brother of the normal captain, but he comes in with 2 air school, 2 in air path and 1 in water, and then he's just a little bit better protected. He's got high hit points. He's relatively cheap for what he does. So he's a mage. In effect, he's a mage, right? He comes in with air 2, which means that he can throw lightning bolts, which is awesome. He's pretty cool as a battle caster, and he is relatively well armored, so he doesn't just die to a stray arrow or anything like that. So all in all, just a really, really good commander. You can recruit these anywhere, and I love them. I think we will be recruiting a whole lot of these guys. Colossi Queen is the next in the line. Comes in with air 2, water 2, astral 1. She's a level 2 priest, and then she comes in with some random schools. Nothing much to say about her. She's not my favorite of the big guys. She costs 4 recruitment points, commander group recruitment points, and her research, while decent, is not as good as the next in line, the Prince Consort. He's a little bit better, although a little bit more expensive. He comes in with air 3, and then a chance to get an air path, and again. So in effect, he can be an air 5 if he's really lucky. That's 2.5%, but there's 25% or a little bit more than that for every summon of this guy or recruitment of this guy that we get an air 4, and that's very, very significant for a lot of the battle spells, the big ones, and also for some of the crafting. So this one is the one that I usually put on repeat recruitment in the capital through my testing, and I'll show you one of my test games in a minute here. And he's also Priest 1, which means that he can carry the Bless, which is quite nice. He comes in with shock resistance, which, you know, if we are going to be blasting lightning all over the battlefield, then that might be quite useful, right? And then we have this other small wind caller that can only be recruited in coastal forts. And he's kind of cool in his own. And he comes in with a little bit worse armor and health than the Colossi Storm Captain, but equally as good magic paths, and then he has a chance of rolling extra magic paths. So in effect, maybe I should use him more. I'm not sure about this guy. I really like the Storm Captains, and I think they are just more reliable as good units, though this one is arguably a better caster. Anyway, that's our repertoire of commanders. Then we will move on and look at the units down here. There are not a lot of interested units in this nation, so we will go through the cheap ones quickly. We have a cheap militia with a spear and a little shield. He can be a meat shield if we don't have anything else to do with our money. We have Phaeacian archers, which is just a standard archer. They got a short bow, not much else to say about them. We come on to the light infantry. We start the game with archers and light infantry, so this is the other starting unit. They come in with javelins, which makes them decent enough skirmish units. Phaeacian infantry is a little bit better armored than the light infantry, but not much really, and then they are sort of mediocre in everything else. Next in line is the Phaeacian heavy infantry, which at least is better protected. But I really like the Colossi, and that's the next in lines. These Colossi heavy infantry are the ones that I prefer to recruit in my forts, where we can't recruit sacred units, so they come in with protection 16, which is relatively decent. 19 damage in both pierce and slashing, which is really nice, and decent enough stats. 20 hit points makes them rather sustainable. They're just good units all around. Not the best, not the worst, but they're really expensive in resources, of course. The next in line is a Colossi light infantry, which is a slight downgrade to the heavy infantry, but then they can throw javelins. There might be situations where you would want to recruit these guys. I always, in my testing at least, have gone for the heavy infantry. And then the final one, the Orichalcum Guard, is our Sacreds. And these guys are so cool. They come at 40 gold, a lot of resources and a lot of recruitment points. But they are just super good. They have 18 protection, really good attack and defense skills. And then they have 22 damage, which is nice, coming with magic damage as base. Really nice, and yeah, just good armor. And then they carry up less. They're also bodyguard 2, just in case we are up against an assassination. Yeah, but no, I don't think anyone of that I know of in our game is I know the nations already, so let me think. Citis, I think, has assassins. So let's have a look at, we'll look at the other nations after the fact. So let me check our pretenders or selections. And here we can see all of the different pretenders that our nation has access to. Being it that it is dominions in hands, there is a whole lot of different options that we can choose from, and I have play tested a few. So again, since we are playing a Blitz, I would like to have an expanded pretender to do some more early game stuff and make sure that we establish ourselves in the game. So one other note about Phaeacia is that if you looked at our units, none of them are underwater capable, right? But we start on an island, which means that we are surrounded by water at the very start. And for that reason, I have thought it would be a nice idea to get an underwater capable pretender that can also expand for us turn 1, right? And so there's a lot of good ones here. I think Titan of the Sea was the first one I tested. It comes in with a point reduction for this nation. In particular, he's nice because he also comes with Gift of Water Breathing. So you can take units with you underwater if you want. Oh, and here we see the Dark Vessels. Every commander in our nation gets this trait for free. And every indie commander we recruit as well get this trait for free. Yeah, and it lays out exactly what I've already explained, which is that we can travel as long as we want, as long as we travel from one coastal province with our friendly dominion to another coastal province with our friendly dominion. They do have to have a waterway connecting them. So, yeah. But still good. Still really good. He's amphibian, and I kind of like him, but he doesn't come in with a whole lot of protection and hit points at the very start. And so I have, in my testing, if I blindly expand with him turn 1, he often dies. And so I tested a few different ones. We can go with someone like the Mother of Monsters, which is a little bit better at doing the whole expanding thing, but then we would need to forge her a ring of underwater breathing first. I also quickly visited the Titan of Death and Rebirth because I have played with this guy before in my first Dominion playthrough. I hope someone will recall that one. It was super fun, where I played Bob, the god of hobbits, with a hobbit nation in a modded game, and my headcanon would have been that Bob somehow, once he got elevated to Pantocrator, would have found a way to make all of his hobbits colossi. I thought that was fun. But we're not going with that, it's too silly. So where did I go? Yes, we are going with the Docania. The Docania comes in with a point reduction also. This is, she's so weird. She has dogs instead of nibbles. So she's got a lot of attacks, pretty good protection at the start, high hit points. She comes in with a fear aura, and she's amphibian, right? So she's really, really good at expanding, even turn 1. Comes in with unsurroundable, which means that she is really good at defending against people trying to surround her, which will happen a lot when you expand with them alone. And so, yeah, this is the one that we end up with. Let me see, before I explain our scales and such, we should go through the sites that we start with. We come in with 1 air gem, 1 astral pearl, then 1 water gem, 1 earth gem, and then finally 1 fire gem. We slow down aging in our provinces, or I think only in the capital, by 50%. But then most importantly, this one decreases unrest in our capital. And so I use this as an excuse to go full on, what's it called? Not order, but chaos. We have 2 versions of her, your mom and your mom. And your mom here, the first iteration of her, came in with turmoil 3. And then I go 2 in productivity. Really, we would want 3, but it's hard to find the points. We prefer heat scale 1, so I put that up to 3, because there's a Jotunheim player in the game, and he really wants the world to be cold. So I boost my heat to the max. And we have growth 3. I dump my misfortune completely, and then magic drain stays at 0 here. This is really a dangerous combination, the misfortune and the turmoil. But as it is supposed to be a short game, I'm hoping that it will work out anyway. And so this was my first iteration of the build. Minor cold resistance because Jotunheim is in the game, so all of our blessed units will have a chance of standing against their cold aura. Defense skill is really nice for both her, comboing with this unsurroundable already, so she is really, really good at defending herself against masses of units. And again, for the Orichalcum Guard, the Orichalcum Guard also benefit massively up of regeneration, so this little combination here, and then also with Undying, makes it so that the Orichalcum Guard are basically unkillable by normal units, at least. And if they can, with Undying 4 here, that means they can go into -8 hit points and then recover back up by the end of the battle so that they survive. Really nice combination. But I found that expanding turn 1 with this Pretender, she would often die, and even if I planned it later down the line, there was always a risk. So I needed to do something more. Introducing your mom, the second version. Your mom is so ugly she has dogs for nibbles. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of your mom jokes that I try to make work. Your mom is so fat that she has Stygian flesh and can't be harmed by normal weapons. Right. Oh god. She gets Stygian flesh, which means I had to go 1 more into death school, and we stay at regeneration here. So, and I get also 8 Dominion, because it's really important to spread our Dominions to all the coastal provinces for that extra movement ability. And so I ended up simply tanking magic/drain. Again, because I hope that research won't be that important in this game, and we will try it out. This means that the little mage pilots that we determined were the better researchers early on, then they will not be that anymore. Now, when you tank your magic scales, you need, instead of spreading your research out on many small researchers, you want to gather your research on a few high researchers. That then, because the more researchers you have, the more you get punished for the drains scale, right? So we will be forging the owl quills with our weavers and use that to boost our research really high. And instead of going, so usually in my testing, and let's have a looking at a testing game. This is what our Pretender looks like. Your mom takes the field. And so here we are in just a random test game of mine, the most recent one I've done. We are at turn 12 here only, where we have the whole thing set up. Playing as Phaeacia in all of my test games, it's really random. Either you get with the little island thing in the ocean, you either get the best starting location you possibly can imagine, or you get the worst possible setup for the game. It's so random, so it's like rolling the dice, but it's pretty cool either way. And the thing about playing this one in a Blitz will be that it's going to be very hard for the other players to rush my capital and siege it because it's on an island, and it's hard for other nations to really get into the water. We're not playing with any underwater nations. So yeah, here we are. Every turn I'm forging or recruiting these prince consorts in our capital. They should be on repeat recruitment, and we are getting as many of these Orichalcum Guard as possible. More resources would mean more of these guys, so we could have used one more in productivity, but you can't have everything. Then, let's see, we always end up having tons of money, so this is of course just against the AI, but we profit our commander in turn 1 here, so he's still running around and is using our Orichalcum Guard here to great effect. They really, I don't know, do we have a battle here? Yeah, let's try to have a look at a random battle with the Orichalcum Guard. It's basically just them running forward. Here we have them up against some random barbarians and what are they called? Ancient ones. This is actually playing against the Nagartha nation. And so, you see, the barbarians that are usually really killy, they don't even get to hit my guys. Yeah. Same back here. They're so defensive. They have 17 defense skill. And then they come in with the invulnerable 10, right? So you can see their protection versus mundane attacks is 23 in here. Insane. Yeah, they're just super tanky. So I use them to great effect in the early game and can basically win any fight. At least against the AI, right? So players will usually be better at scripting, and hopefully they will have figure out something to fight against us. Our pretender here sits back and casts some spells while the enemy approach, and then she takes a ton of damage, in fact, but she usually survives. I haven't managed to lose her after I made this iteration of her build to any kind of indie province. I think I even took a throne in this game. No, that was another text game. Okay. But the point should be clear. Then we have these weavers, colossi weavers. They are forging owl quills most of the time. As soon as we research construction 2, we will be forging these. They can also forge... Oh, I don't have that here. Oh. There is some national only items that we can forge with these babies. Let me see, I'll load up another game. Yeah, here we are in another test game a little bit earlier. I think this is with my old build of the Tucania here. I don't know, where can I see my bless? Right, we can click on a temple of mine to see the bless. Yeah, this is with the Undying. Alright, so it's a little bit of an older build, but the point here is clear. I will find one of our weavers here. Alright, here we can see the purple silk garment, which is a national only forgeable item, which is really cool. It's pretty cheap, 3 astral pearls and 2 water gems, and since our colossi weaver gets a discount on each of the gems, it's 2 astral gems and 1 water gem to forge this item. It gives us defense skill +2, magic resistance 1, protection 8 for the body, and then twist faith. It's a lot of little bonuses tucked into one very cheap armor that can be put on our otherwise unarmored mages. And in theory also the pretender, even though you would want something better on the pretender, we can get this early on to the pretender. It comes in at construction 4. So just one piece of equipment that's pretty nice for us. And then in combat, we can cast some... No, sorry, off of combat. Here, we can cast this Elemental Storm, which is a really, really cool national summon that allows us to summon air elementals. And so this comes in at Conjuration 5, and it's pretty expensive in air gems, but it's still a super good spell in general. And if we forge this hat of air magic, we get 1 extra of them per cast, so it ends up being a pretty good one. Increased by 1 for every 2 extra levels the caster is. Yeah, so we get 1 extra by going from 3 to 5. So really cool national summon. And in battles, I'm often casting Storm. I don't think I actually do that in any of these fights here, but that it is the plan. If we look at research, the first turn, or first research target will always be Alteration 1, because then our pretender can cast Skeletal Body and then Bark Skin. And then I think I beeline, I think I'll beeline for Enchantment 2 to get Personal Perturbation for her. And then we will want Construction 2 as soon as possible after that to start forging the Owl Quills, and then Evocation 2, at least Evocation 2 for the Storm Captains to start throwing down Lightning Bolts. And then either Conjuration 5 for the Elemental Storm, or I think it's Evocation 5 for the Storm. Yeah. Which Storm will allow us to cast better air spells with all of our smaller commanders, because then they can cast the booster spell for air magic, which is hidden in Conjuration. Summon Storm Power here. This one requires that there to be a storm on the battlefield, so we would need... This is maybe too late game, I'm not sure this is going to be viable in the game itself, but we would need like an Air 4 here, like this guy, an Air 4 random, to come into the battlefield and script the usual... I'm sure many of you already know this, but you can go in here and script Storm. Oh, we can't do that here because we don't have Evocation 4 here, I think. Yeah, no. Or Evocation 5. But then that's the plan, to get them casting better battle spells. So this is my standard script. Aim, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, and then when we get the other thing, we can go summon Storm Power, and then we would script... I've done this before in another game, but I guess we don't have a better one here. I'm pretty sure that there's a tier at level 3... Yeah, Thunderstrike, exactly, this one here, which has a lot better range and does more damage. So that would be, we would love to go from Lightning Bolt to Thunderstrikes. They're just better. And so that's about it. I think I've gone through everything. I'll show you guys the other nations that the other players are playing. We have, in Middle Ages, we are up against Pangea, played by Chris Lighthawk, who is some of you might know his name. Chris Lighthawk has been featured in other YouTubers' playthroughs as a named character, and he's a subscriber to my channel, and he was the one who invited me to this game here. So I have high expectations for him, and he is probably, at least since I don't know the other 4 guys that are in the game, there's a good chance in my mind that he is the one who's gonna win. Who knows? And then let me see. Then we have Asphodel, who is being played by a guy named Syroxis. So he's playing these. These are the opposites of Pangea, like a dark Pangea, where they summon these carrion beings, undead forest beings, nasty fellas. I don't know if they're gonna ally or be enemies. It's always a little bit tricky with those two. Then we have Jotunheim. Jotunheim being played by the host of the game, Sablecat, or Saber Tiger, as his name is Danish, and he's playing Jotunheim, who's had a rework. They last time I saw them, they had different sprites, so I'm very excited to see what changes have been made to this nation. I'm not super. I don't have super in-depth knowledge about this whole their nation and stuff, but they look super cool with their new sprites, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in action. They have these wolf giants that turn into werewolves when they die. Werewolf giants, giant werewolves, pretty damn cool. Then we have Ulm. Let me see if I can find Ulm. Ulm here, Fortress of Ulm, and they're being played by Argis. And we've seen them before on the channel. Last time in one of the 1v1s that I played against Ulm with Agatha, and I got absolutely ramshackled by these Black Knights, and I feel like they're still really strong. At least they don't seem like they've changed much. They're all about having really high protection on a few good units, and then they can forge. Like my Colossi viewers, they have a forge bonus here in their priest smiths. And so they're just really, really strong nation, and especially in the early game, which should be good in a blitz. Then we have another final nation, I think. Right, Cetis being played by Divine Mess. Divine Mess playing Cetis here, who are, I don't remember them specifically, but they have these assassins in here, which we have to watch out for. Maybe I can use my bodyguards against this specific nation. They are all about they're like necromancer lizards, so they will spawn a ton of undead. They have these very nasty sacreds which deal 30 damage, damn, and have an extra attack, by the way. Hit point 37. They might even be better than my Orichalcum Guard. Also high protection. Yeah, damn, they are really good. Damn. They also cost a little bit more. Not that much more. Huh. Yeah, they just seem better. Well, hopefully, I don't know if anyone else is gonna go for like a power blast like mine. I think that is the best one for a blitz like this game that we are playing. Did I touch all 6 players then? I think so, yeah. So that's all. Took a little bit longer, I think, than I had liked, but I hope you guys will enjoy the playthrough. When next I record, I will have played out the whole thing, I believe. So everything will be recorded in post-mortem. Win or lose, we don't know yet. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. This is my first time blitzing, but I think it's the first time for all of us blitzing, so it should be relatively even in that sense. And it should be a lot of fun. I'm trying to get the series on the channel as fast as possible, but no promises. Probably I can do like at least 3 episodes per week is the goal. So I hope you guys will enjoy. Let me know your mom jokes down in the comments down below. And it's supposed to be a fun game, right? So yeah, let's just have some fun with it. And yeah, that's it for this time, folks. See you around, and wish me good luck. Bye-bye.